But do you consider the United States to be a settler society?
I'll say something rather controversial, but it shouldn't be. And that is that every square inch of North America and most of both Americas, of the Western Hemisphere, is occupied land. It's occupied land. It belongs. All of it was stolen from the indigenous population of North and South America.
Okay.
It was. So we owe a huge debt to the indigenous population. And I think that the only way to clear that debt is to say, it's yours. If you allow us to stay here, we'll live under your rules. Now that's never going to happen.
That's not going to happen, of course.
It's not going to happen. But unfortunately, the United States and Canada and other nations have effectively eliminated the indigenous population. And what's left is, in a way, heterogeneous, but they all have given up their homeland, their previous homeland, and they have a new homeland. And so it's hard to say. There are other things, I think, that are dividing the American society, and these things are economic. Mm-hmm. Now there's more unemployment, there's more homelessness, it's a very unfriendly and society that often does not care for each other. There's no sense of working together. I wouldn't say no sense. There are communities that try to do better than that, but it's not a fundamental part of the entire country, and that worries me a lot. Because I thought we were headed in a good direction, especially when I was growing up in the 50s and maybe the 60s. But then the oligarchs in the US especially began to ship the jobs overseas in order to increase their personal profits.
Of course, cheap labor and everything.
Yes. So there was an oligarchy in the past that exploited the labor and the land, but also felt pride in the country and a sense of obligation to the society. And they were proud to have people living well in their country.
Okay.
But they're not there anymore, to a large extent.
How now the economy of the States is running with all these wars, sanctions, and also deteriorating globalism everywhere?
Right. The United States needs a new target because they're losing in Ukraine, and so they have to move to another theater, if you will. They can't win. They don't have the industries and the capability to continue this war in Ukraine. I don't know what they're thinking about how they're going to win a war with China. But they need a war because war is what makes the economy run, and it unites the country to a certain extent. It allows the United States to borrow more money, to some extent to tax the American people, and it gives a reason. It's a way of showing the American people that it's defending the country, if you will. But there's nothing material at the bottom of it. The United States weaponry, as I said before, is either non-existent to the extent that it used to be for certain lines of weaponry and capability, or it is more specialized and very expensive, all handmade equipment. So but it's a way of pumping money into the military-industrial complex, and that feeds a lot of the American society. Not enough, but and then the people. I'm sorry to say that Americans don't. They believe that the country is that the government is somehow working on their behalf, and
they don't
at least
believe.
Enough of them do. They're not unified. For example, the United States has never had a general strike in the entire country. Italy, Greece, France, even the Netherlands have had general strikes throughout their entire country in their history. But the United States has never had a general strike. And the people are not united. That's one reason they're divided into 50 states, is to prevent their unification. And they're politically divided as well. I'm not sure the ethnic divisions are as big a factor, but they are a factor. There's no question. And in some cases, the difference in ethnicity, especially between the color line between the African Americans and the rest of them, is still extremely deep. So these are what divide Americans, and it's hard. I find it hard to imagine that they're going to unify against their own government. We do have workers' unions, and some of them are compromised, I have to say, and the number of unions has dropped. Union membership is constantly dropping. It may be below 10% now. I don't know. But workers are not enough of a factor in the economy. If they were more widespread, it could be a force to unify the country.